Hey, good evening, everyone. Yes, it is Tuesday night. Hey, look, I'm back. I swear to you, I didn't go anywhere. It's only been a couple of weeks. I'm back. No. Yeah, work commitments I couldn't get out of, so I took a couple of weeks off. Sorry. I'm back. You guys did great without me. Appreciate you guys keeping it going. We're getting towards the end of the year, right? Christmas Eve is Sunday. So this is our official before Christmas show, right before Christmas show, whatever you want to call it. So we hope everybody's having a good time. They're enjoying the holiday season. To all my Jewish buddies, I know Hanukkah just ended, so I hope you guys all had a happy Hanukkah. I know Kwanzaa's coming up for my African-American friends who celebrate that. So we hope everybody's having a great holiday season. Obviously, said Christmas Eve is Sunday for those who celebrate Christmas. So we're going to cover everything here, folks. We cover everything. But again, I'm never alone. I'm Nick Rosario. I'm back. Glad to be back as well. It's good to see everybody's face. Tina, how we doing? It's Tuesday, and you're here too, which is great. So, what's going on? How you doing?
Doing good. I'm looking forward to the holiday weekend this weekend. Gonna go see a bunch of family and try and relax a little bit before the last week of the year starts at my job. So that's usually kind of crazy. And then it's New Year's, and then I'm off for a week and a half.
Oh, look at you! Nice. That's a beautiful thing.
I'm in Vegas the first weekend for the Broncos Raiders game.
Oh, nice! Merry Christmas to you. Nice, beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of taking some time off, right? Delilah. Sorry, did I interrupt you, Tina? I'm so sorry. I didn't want to. See, look, I'm away for 2 weeks, and already I'm cutting people off. My first night back. See what's going on? You see what happens when you're out of practice for a couple of weeks? These things happen. You think you hear something and you don't. You say, what can I tell you? But Delilah, you're also, you get the couple weeks off pretty soon here. How are you doing? How is it going?
I'm counting down the days.
Yes.
Yeah, they feel interminable, okay? Because you're just like, maybe I'm done. Like, I'm trying to finish work earlier and earlier.
Yeah, for sure, right? Get it done.
So I'm like, I got a lot done. It's 2:30. I'm good.
Yeah. I gotta go now. Thanks. Yeah,
so
exactly.
I'm just trying to get as much done as possible so that I don't, I can have a longer evening and then hear that 2 week come closer.
Right. There you go. Hey.
As any teacher, the week before Christmas feels like forever because we are just dragging along, us and the kids, okay? We're both just trying to survive.
Right. That's very true. I remember being in school, you couldn't wait for that Christmas break. You're like counting down the hours, minutes till that bell rang, and you're like, bye, I'm gone for 2 weeks. Thank you. No homework. Yeah. Christmas time, New Year's Eve, let's do this. Well, as you can see, we do have a fourth member, but it's not our usual fourth member. Unfortunately, Mr. Handy could not join us this evening because, hey, work calls. Got to get that OT, baby. Make that money, Handy. I tell you, I understand that. That's where I've been the last 2 weeks, trying to make that money. But, of course, Mr. Spencer has joined us. You all know Sean, one of the creator of all this chaos, but and he's usually in the background with us doing something, figuring something out, doing a little thing. So, Sean, nice to have you with us. How is your Tuesday going? How you doing?
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Finished college football update. Got to hang out with a bunch of people. Now I get to hang out with a bunch of people.
There you go.
I'm pretty good. Very
good.
And I'm very happy to be here.
Yes. Perfect. 100% perfect. Right. Handy would love that. Yeah. Always here in spirit. Always here in spirit. So, Sean, do me a favor. Drop your food on the floor at some point during the show, and it will really feel like Handy's here. Do that. Yeah, there it is. There we go. All right, beautiful. Okay, we're off to a roaring start, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. But as always, I'm glad everybody's doing well. Again, it is Tuesday. Finally happy to have a night off from the old Winter Wonderland, whatever they call that at Wrigley, Winterfest, Wonderland, whatever it's called. Hey, what's going on, everybody? I hope everyone is having a wonderful Tuesday. Well, thank you, Mr. Loosemore. We hope you are as well. I know you were probably just on with Sean on the college update, so glad that you're tuning in. Thank you so much. And as always, we like to start every show with a coin toss. Here we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So normally we would do like a little team recap and throw, but this is a special episode in a way. We're doing kind of a Christmas theme throughout. So this is no different. We're going to start. This is a segment we like to call Naughty or Nice. I'm going to throw out some names to my fellow panelists here and see what they have to say, whether these people are naughty or nice. So let's start. We're going to jump in right away. We'll give our guest the first shot here, Mr. Spencer. And I'm going to give you one that I think is going to be an interesting one to discuss. I'm going to give you the referees. The referees of the NFL this year. Naughty or nice?
I gotta say naughty, man. Too many calls that are just we're being left up to them, and they are trying to insert themselves into too many games. You know what I mean? Like, I get calls being called during, like, either you're gonna say let them play, or you're gonna call everything right down to the T. Like, you can't just say, oh, I feel like being cool right now, I'm gonna let them play right now, and then when it comes down to it, you're like, oh yeah, penalty. Of course you're gonna have people yelling out, but I think they're trying to have a little bit more control than they have. Now, I am also tainted because I just watched on Netflix the Tim Key story about the NBA ref that was betting on the games. So I kind of looked at the behind the scenes. Donahue, yeah. So I'm kind of looking at behind the scenes, and they're naughty in my opinion.
They're naughty. Anybody else have an opinion on the referees of they want to give right now in the NFL? The referees, naughty, nice.
Give them all a call.
Give them more a call.
I mean, they're just not being consistent. It's not even just like they're inserting themselves into the game. They're not being consistent. And so, I mean, I was watching our game against Detroit, and there was a helmet-to-helmet hit in the game. Nothing. Nada. Nothing. If that had been Kareem, he would have gotten the flag, and he would have been out. Be consistent all the time. And fine, you're going to call offensive offsides now. Do it all the time. That's just the point. And that's why I still say it. I think they should be professional refs. Now, when they're professional, you get into the situation like you were talking about in the documentary where they're a little bit more in there. But basketball was such a different game. There's how many? Over 100 games a season? You got
82 and plus playoffs, 82 plus playoffs.
So, I mean, it's shorter, but I'm big for making the refs professional, making sure that they know exactly what they're doing, what they're supposed to be calling, and being more consistent with it.
Like in soccer.
Good.
In soccer, they are professionals, and I think they have a union and everything.
I like it. My soccer's become a popular sport. I'm telling you.
Right. And it's not even all just it's not like we haven't had this issue. Like a couple of years ago, they had to get replacement refs because they weren't taking care of the refs we had. And then, they bring in these guys who are terrible. You know what I mean? Like Tina said, just get guys in here that know it, have them run through a rigid system, and let them do it, man. Because a lot of people are getting very upset about this off the field, and if we're getting upset, then the players are, and the coaches too. So I think
it's time to move forward in the 21st century with having professional referees. Like, come on, like, we get it. No one cared about football back in the 1940s, but because college football was king. That's why I say that. I don't mean it. It wasn't, but it really was. And so, like, again, I think I agree with Tina. I think it's time. So the officiating department, because there is one, I think that they really need to do an overhaul and really say, we're just gonna have to actually train and keep people. I mean, I get it; it's a part-time gig, but you could still figure out a way where they are full-time employees, right? And actually trained and whatever, and it just like the teams do. Right? You have a training camp. You have all this stuff like that. Keep them working.
Referee camp.
Right? I'm sure. Yeah, I'm telling you. Yes. Maybe they should be part of the training camp. You know what I mean? Like they should be part of those training camps. Like when the players have to show up, so do the refs.
Definitely. So I think we're all on the same page here. Go ahead, Nita.
The rest are not employees; they're independent contractors.
Contractors,
That's
right?
what I mean.
Exactly.
So they should be employees. They
Right.
are. That's what I'm saying.
And yeah, they should be. They really should be direct hires.
Yeah.
But they do get graded after every game. Like the officiating league does grade them, but there's no real consequence for that bad call or missing that call. So you don't get to do the playoffs or play or do the Super Bowl.
No, I hear you. To that point, Tina.
What?
Yeah, to that point, I want to ask you about the next name that I'm going to bring up here. Naughty or nice, Tina, Roger Goodell, the commissioner of the NFL. What sayeth you about Roger this Christmas season?
I'm of two minds on him. Like,
okay.
I think he's been good for the league. He's been good in terms of getting the game to grow and trying to get different groups, and it's not just being certain groups in socioeconomic places and trying to get more people involved in it. I think he's been very good about that. And I think he's also been very good about pushing player safety. But I say that, so it's kind of like I want to give him a peppermint candy that has coal inside of it.
Okay.
We've just been talking about, like, you got the ref situation. You've got other situations that, like, we kind of talked about this earlier. I'm going to bring it up because it pisses me off. The guy being able to be up in the owner's box when he's supposed to be suspended for a game, where the league allowing that to happen when you know that if it had been an Eagles guy that had done what DeBianca did and had gotten ejected from the game, he wouldn't be allowed in the stadium.
Yeah,
I don't
probably you're probably right about that.
Why there's different rules for that. So Goodell is a lightning rod for people. You either like him or you hate him. There's not a lot of in the middle. I, as a lawyer, can see the rules and see why he does what he does, but I don't like it.
Sure.
So.
Anybody else want to chime in on good old Roger Goodell while we're here? Anybody? Anyone? Bueller? Anyone? Bueller? Anyone? He's been amazing for the game of football. I'd say he's on the nice list, but close to being on the naughty list. Well, thank you, Alex. That's probably a fair statement in that regard. I think Tina kind of told that line as well. Like, I like this, but I don't like this. So, Roger, you get nothing. No. You get the middle. You said peppermint with a coal in it. That sounds great. We do that? Peppermint with a coal in it?
I feel like he's in a hard position because he has no real power. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. Like, everyone knows that the owners of the NFL teams are the ones that hold power, actually. And, and so I think that's why I think it's a hard position to be in when you know that they're the ones who choose you. It's the NFL. They're the ones who choose who the next commissioner is of the NFL. And so I feel like he's in a difficult spot when it comes to the certain organizations. I'm going to say I agree with it, but I feel like he's in a tighter position. And I agree with Alex. I think he's been better for modern NFL. Like, getting more, like, improving things. Although things aren't great, diversity has improved, even though it's not where it should be, but it has, right? And so at least he is trying to shift in the right direction. And even if we don't like the way they investigate, but we learn from Tina's corner the way that they do it. So he does try as much as possible to follow those rules and those policies. But I think it's very difficult. I think it's a difficult position to be in when you're beholden to the NFL owners who are like, ultra billionaires and have a lot of say.
Well, they have the money, right? Follow the
honestly,
money.
it's kind of like the mafia guy that goes and gives Christmas hams and TVs to everybody in the neighborhood. He's still doing bad stuff, but at the same time, he's still doing some pretty good stuff. I mean, my issue with him is his whole, and it's not his personal stance, but just how light he is on the whole domestic abuse situation. Like,
Yeah.
you have a
Yeah,
lot
I
of these
agree.
guys that will just
100%.
get away with about near murder of women,
Absolutely.
and he's just like, oh, they'll give 2 or 3 games. It's like, what? And then you suspend somebody indefinitely for smoking a joint? Like, get out of here. I just the difference in severity is just for me, and I think that's somewhere where I would like to see him do a little better.
Yeah.
So, but I agree with you.
I mean, Ray Rice, Calvin Ridley, which would you punish more, right? If you were the commissioner. But we all know what happened there, so we don't have to go over that. But yeah, perfect example right there, Sean. Yeah, exactly. Let's give Calvin a whole year. We'll give Ray 6 games, whatever it was. Yeah, let's do that. Anyways, let us move on. I'll throw out something else. Delilah, I'm going to throw this one at you to start with. We're going to go to quarterbacks now, just because there's a couple that Tina's favorite. It calls him Kermit every week. Patrick Mahomes, naughty or nice this year? What do you think?
I think he's nice. I think people are taking his reactions out of proportion because I've seen people do way worse. I'm sorry. I've seen other similar high caliber quarterbacks throw tantrums all the time. Break tablets. All I'm saying is it's not uncommon for these quarterbacks to get, upset and throw a tantrum on the sidelines, and we're not going to stop seeing it. And he paid his fine, which is like nothing. So he knew it was coming. I don't think he should be on a naughty list for that. That's crazy. We would, you know what I mean? We've been watching the NFL for like decades, and some of you a little longer, right? And forever, the quarterback.
Hey, what are you trying to say?
I'm just
saying. You said I'm old? Some of you a little longer too. I wonder who you're talking about, Delilah. Some of you who are in your 50s now, who watching football for 5 decades, pal. What are you doing? That's okay.
But I'm right.
Someone's definitely getting cold in their stocking this year, and it's going to be you. Thanks a lot, pal.
I know. I'm sorry.
Peppermint with cold for you. Don't let me catch you outside this week. Peppermint with cold for you.
Oh man, listen. I'm just saying that we've seen it happen.
Yeah, I know. Absolutely.
He shouldn't be on a naughty list for that. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. No, I know, but it's fun to talk about. Like I said, I thought about giving that to Tina, but I knew exactly where Tina would go, so I wanted kind of a more objective view on good old Kermit the Frog. There, I didn't want to, Tina never not. Ben Cornette has chimed in. In my opinion, every player should have an agent like Tommy DeVito. We need them to look like they're going to be a problem if the guy doesn't get the extra cheese on the water. If you know what I mean. Bada bing, bada bing, exactly. Thank you, Ben, for that comment. I'm telling you. Yes. If his agent and family are not on a central casting, I don't know what is. Because that is, and then they show the family and they're all up there in the stands. And you're just like, oh my goodness. I mean, they belong in an episode of The Sopranos. Like, that's got to be his family. Like, hey, go get the fresh moots, chicken cutlets. Let me get a sandwich. Come on, man. Yeah, it's hilarious how they play that up so much every week. Hey, the DeVito, now it's this. Hey, give me. Yeah, so I don't know. Hilarious stuff. Anybody else? Patrick Mahomes? No? Good. Tina, do you want to say something?
I was going to say, I would actually put him on the nice list because, like what Delilah was saying, like, we know a very prominent, just retired quarterback who would literally throw temper tantrums when he lost games. We talked about the iPad and all of that. Like, they let them get away with this stuff.
Are you talking about the guy that Sean endlessly played a video of, who threw a certain Super Bowl trophy from boat to another boat? Are we talking about that gentleman right now?
I don't have all I'm saying. I can work it out.
I was waiting to see if that was going to pop up because Sean's favorite quarterback in the last 4 years, Mr. Throwing Super Bowl trophies, right? That
was the other guy I was going to bring up. That Alex just brought up is Phillip Rivers. Oh my God, I have a meme saved in my phone. There's Phillip Rivers with this big blue coat, pulling it over his head and like sitting down. And there's this famous story about Phillip Rivers and I can't remember Cutler. That is hilarious. Yeah, I won't tell it on the show. It's way too long of a story. But Philip Rivers had the worst potty mouth. He was a trash talker extraordinaire. So, like, those guys do temper tantrums all the time. The league never cut them back. Kermit's problem is, like, also what I think Alex alluded to, is he doesn't have the receivers he had. His receivers are dropping balls, things like that. So he's frustrated with what he's got around him. You've got Kelsey, cover Kelsey, moving on. So, yeah, and I'll get it right this time, son. Tony.
Tony. I agree, Alex.
Needs freaking double stick tape on his gloves.
Yes.
I agree, Alex. He just had another one recently too.
Well, see, that's the thing. Like I guess Philip spends all his time and doesn't have a television at home because he's got 10 children. So he rather watch this anyway. So whatever. It's all good, Philip.
I disagree. I disagree
go
with
ahead.
both of them.
Sean,
I think he is on the naughty list. Not because he had a temper tantrum. Everybody does that. But if I got to see him trying to run over his coaches to go after a referee like a basketball player, one of these fake basketball fights, hold me back. That no, bro, no, man. And you going after a ref? Come on, what was you gonna do if you got to him, Patrick? Come on, bro. Nothing.
When he said to Josh Allen, like they picked up right after the game, Josh has nothing to do with that. So I mean,
I said what?
Yeah, like, I don't like Kermit at all. Everybody knows that. But I don't think he's naughty. Again, maybe a government stick with a call. Like, he gets both.
Yeah. So, I love it. This is exactly why I wanted to. No, this is why I wanted to do this segment, because I knew this was going to rouse some people up. Because I'm going to throw out a name next. And I'm going to give it to somebody else because I know he's going to chime in anyways, Spencer. But Delilah, we'll go back to you. Ron Rivera. Naughty or nice? Oh, and he left. Look at it. He brought up Rivera and he leaves. Come on, son. Don't go anywhere. Come back. Come back, Shane. Come back. Where you going? Come back, Shane.
I'm going to say naughty only because he's been given enough time. That's all. If it was like his first season, maybe second season, I'd be like, oh, no. But he's been the head coach for Washington for quite a few seasons now, and that's the only reason I'll put him on a naughty list now. You know what I mean? That's the only reason.
That's all. Okay. Anybody else got something else they might like to say about Mr. Rivera? I don't know. Maybe. No. You're not gonna say nothing now? You're gonna stay quiet?
I'll reframe
he was leaving just for Rivera
the building. I hope he has a nice day. Okay.
Yeah, I hope he has a nice day.
As a person,
what a turd Patrick need to do. Well, thank you for that, Ben. I'm sure if Anthony Handy were here, he might echo your sentiment because he feels the same way. I believe that Desmond Ritter should just literally be run out of town. So yeah, Arthur Smith, naughty. There you go. There you go. Thank you, Handy. Handy chiming in from the car on the way home, obviously, listening on his way home.
I was good with Rivera. I was his staunchest defender all the way up until this week when he benched my quarterback Sam Howell. So yes, he's naughty. Definitely naughty.
Okay. See, I was kind of like I didn't know that Sam Howell didn't start this past week, so I honestly wasn't aware of that.
He started. He got yanked.
He got benched. Oh, he got yanked. Okay. Yeah. Well, you got. We're gonna get to it later, but yeah, you get. Oh, okay. Gotcha. But well, I'll throw out another one. Just that was an easy one, I guess. Poor Ronnie. Riverboat Ron, his luck has run out there in Washington. He's about to go. Tina, I'll give you this one just because I'm kind of biased, and Delilah might be a little bit too. But Justin Fields, naughty or nice?
Nice. I think he's getting the shame, and I think he's getting the shaft in Chicago. Like, he played a really good game on Sunday. Normally I kind of say if it's not my team, I'm sitting there doing a bunch of other stuff. I sat down and I was watching that game. I really think I think he's a good quarterback. I just don't know that he fit in with Eberflus's system. And hopefully this year he's made a highlight reel for him to be, if there's something going on. I don't know when his rookie contract is up. Is it after this year?
Next year is year 4. Next year is year 4. So we have him for next year, and then the 5th year option if we decide to pick it up. So I mean, he's under contract for next year. That's the thing, and I don't think too many people. That's why they can say draft the quarterback, draft the quarterback, but he's still on his rookie contract. Like year 4 is next year. So. But go ahead. Sorry, finish
if somebody takes a look at him, and I think the Bears would listen to some trade offers, depending on who they have. So I think he makes he can make a good reel for himself to go somewhere else if they decide not to renew his contract. So nice. I know some people don't like him, but I think that's just because. We've talked about this before. A lot of Bears fans want the fix now, and it's not going to get fixed now because he plays a completely different game than Eberflus. So, yeah, I happen
to agree with Mr. Loosemore.
Yeah.
See, I agree with Alex. I trade the number 1 pick, get another Hall, get a legit center, get another edge rusher. I mean, we've had the number 1 rushing defense for the last 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Like, our defense is improving. We have a good defense. We need to build. Yeah. No, hey, I'm not going to lie. Montez Sweat has been phenomenal since he got here.
And then he was on the sidelines last week, but whatever. Then he was.
Well, that was 2 weeks ago where, I don't understand why he wasn't in that last drive, why Montez Sweat and what's his name were on the bench for like almost that whole series. Like, I don't know what that was. Whatever. Well, Eberflus is another subject altogether. But yeah, I mean, Sweat has been great since he's been here. It's a shame Ngakoue got hurt because at least with the 2 of them at edge, we had a rush. We had, we had something going. And, with sometimes when you just see that big Alexander Billings in the middle, the guy takes up like 4 spots on the line. It's hard to run past that guy. Like he draws double teams like crazy. Like it's a great thing to see. But yeah, I mean, I what are you going to do? I mean, it is what it is, right? It's just.
Can we put him on the nice list?
Ooh, Montez Sweat?
Montez Sweat, yeah.
Yeah,
he still leads Washington in sacks this year. You know that, right?
Does he really? Is that true?
That's what Alex was saying.
6.5 sacks with Washington, 6 sacks for y'all. That's
golly.
That's what Alex was saying.
That's the best. He leads 2 teams. He's played on 2 teams this year, and he has the sack lead for both. Now that's something. That's definitely, he gets more than Cole for Christmas. That's for sure. He gets the grand prize. But no, this stuff is so funny to me. Because I was going to throw out one just because, again, I know Delilah and I are Bears fans, and I know Delilah's feeling on Eberflus, and I'm not saying that I'm not leaning towards like throwing him off the boat, as it were, but in the last few weeks, I've really thought about this. And I'm not saying he should stay the coach, but my point is, Chicago is so bad at doing this that we've done this. 3 out of the last 5 coaches we had lasted 2 years at most. You know what I mean? Like we're like, oh yeah, we're giving this guy a shot. We hire these first-time coaches. We throw them in there. Okay, go ahead. Sink or swim. It's your call. We don't give you exactly what you want because when Nagy came in, Trubisky wasn't his quarterback. We saw that. That was, and again, not that Mitch has lit the league on fire when he left, but the fact is, when you had that kid here, you did absolutely nothing for him. I mean, you didn't try to run an offense that he could run. You tried to do nothing. You tried to insert your Kansas City playbook, whatever the hell you were doing, Nagy. That didn't work. Then you bring in Eberflus, and you have Justin Fields as your quarterback, and you do absolutely nothing to run the offense that kid could run. So, I mean, as much as you want to, as people want to fire Matt, I don't know what you do. Because now if you bring in another new coach, and again, I'm not saying Matt shouldn't be gone, but like you bring in another coach and you keep Justin Fields, just say for the sake of this argument, because you got him for his 4th year next year, and you bring in another new coach. Do you know that I saw something the other day that I think you guys will find interesting? They showed a list of Bears quarterbacks and how many offensive coordinators they had when they were here. Jake Cutler had, was it 5 different coordinators when he was here? 5 different offensive coordinators. And that guy's our passing leader. But he had 5 different coordinators. So, yeah, I don't think Cutler was a bad quarterback at all. I just think after a while he didn't care. That guy just did whatever the hell he wanted to do. It was like, whatever. This is what I'm going to do. I'm Jay Cutler. Forget it. Whatever you want to do. And they ended up, getting rid of him after they gave him that big-ass contract. But, yeah, and then, like, Trubisky had 3 different coordinators while he was here. It just, to me, that's why I was going to add, like, Bears ownership, but they're naughty because they just don't do things right. They don't run the football team the way that they should. And it's just maddening. That's all I'm saying. Like, that, to me, is just ridiculous. Any thoughts on that before we get out of here with this?
No, well, I think he should be defensive coordinator. I just don't think he has. He doesn't. I'm sorry. Luke Getsy doesn't understand. Luke Getsy doesn't understand Justin Fields. We know it every week because you can tell when he changes his game, when he's winning, when he's hot, and then he shifts his plays and he screws them over. And that's unfair. Like, everybody, you could see it. You could see when we're winning, when he's hot. Last week was the best game he's ever had. He was balling out, right, when we won. And then this week, we saw, again, they changed back, and then they start to play either too conservatively or they make him throw crazy stuff. And I don't think Luke Getsy – honestly, I don't think he likes Fields very much. Honestly,
he probably doesn't.
I don't think he does. I don't think he wants him as his quarterback. It could be that too. We've seen other teams when there's coaches that I didn't pick this quarterback, so I'm not gonna develop him. Right? This was This is the previous regime. This is not the kind of style of play that I'm used to, that I want to work with, and I think that's what we're seeing. And that's like, I just don't think they're the right coaches for him. And you could tell. It's demoralizing. You can see it in his face when he's on the sidelines, when he's doing well, and the next week they change it up on him, and he's just because you're literally destroying his confidence when you do that.
And I think that goes with what Ben said. Is he's saying like he doesn't think Fields. I'm paraphrasing with saying cares.
I don't think he does.
I don't think it's that Fields doesn't care. I think he cares. I think he's frustrated.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Got a coach that isn't listening to him and helping him, and he's switching things in and out, and that the relationship between Getsy and Fields is, or even his quarterback coach. I don't know who the quarterback coach is for the Bears.
I'll be honest. I forget his name. Yeah,
it's gone. Like there's no trust amongst any of them right now.
But
so I don't really think he has an attitude problem or anything. I think he's literally so frustrated in the situation that he's like, I can't do anything right. You're not going to do anything for me. It's a similar situation that we had with Drew Lock before he got traded to the Seahawks. He was decent, but he had a coach that didn't like him and thought he was horrible, and he didn't really. Fangio didn't give him help to try and develop him. So when that
this week he beats the Eagles.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
he beats the Eagles.
Yeah.
No, what did it for me with Eberflus, honestly, what did it for me was this past Sunday. You're in a defensive game, right? Like this game, you knew this was going to be a defensive game. Cleveland has the number 1 defense in the NFL, and we had the number 1 run defense. And the fact that you don't take 3 points at the end of that second quarter on that drive to try to go for it on 4th down is the most ridiculous thing in the world to me in a tight game. That's coaching. You take the damn points, man. You take the 3 points. And guess what we lost by, guys? 3 points. Because, again, in the second half, we get conservative and we should be putting our foot on the gas, and we don't. End of the rant. I'm not going to say any more because I'll probably say. I'm just not going to say anything else.
That's a stretch. I'll say that's a stretch.
What do you mean it's a stretch? Come on. Have you seen the coaching decisions?
Because you got to have – all right. So my point is, so I think Justin Fields, going back to that, is nice, okay? And I have to say that because he put up 40 points on my team. But anyways, I honestly think in your situation with it, it's what Tina was saying to a T. And that's why I have an issue with what Ben is saying, because with Fields, the fact that it's showing that he's frustrated I mean, it's rightfully so. If any of us were in that situation where you literally have coaches and coordinators and people around you sabotaging you, they're bringing other quarterbacks, they're not helping you with your own line, they're not giving you any support on wide receiver, they're not doing anything to help you, then of course he's going to get frustrated. Of course he's going to get to the point where he can't do it. And now you have a situation where, despite all of that, the Bears aren't bad. I've told you guys all year long, that Bears team that showed up at Washington was the more accurate Bears team, in my opinion. But the thing is, you have little things that go here, little things that go there that fall apart. What happened in the beginning of the Broncos game where you destroyed them? And then, like you said, oh, you put you took your foot off the gas, X, Y, and Z. He's a defensive guy. I mean, this is not McVay. This is not somebody that's going to keep scoring up. So, as far as this game, I understand. Far be it from me to sit there and tell you about your team. Although I will say, if the playoff picture, you guys technically are not eliminated, and we are.
Yeah, we know. We're going to get to that later.
I don't have much sympathy, all right?
But I'm just saying, it's always situational coaching. And in a game like that, you got to take the points. I get what you're saying, Sean. You want to be aggressive and blah, blah. But, bro, this is a defensive game. It's 7-7. You take the effing points.
Matt is on the naughty list. See?
Yeah.
Justin is on a nice list. Matt is on a naughty list. See how that works?
There it is. Exactly. But anyways, well, thank you guys for that. That was a fantastic segment. I knew I would get some reactions from you guys, and I loved it. That was fantastic. Let us move on, though. We do have a segment. We are going to do a segment that we normally do because I think, again, kind of fitting in with our Christmas theme that we're trying to do here. We're just before Christmas Eve. We hope everybody's having a great week so far. We're going to go next to one of our more popular segments of this week in NFL history. So, Delilah, go ahead and take it away.
Sorry, I was getting my notes together. I didn't realize I had so many of these. So I'm like, wait a minute, where are my notes? Okay. So I'm going to focus on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day because, it's the Christmas show, right? So, all righty, here we go. So on Christmas Eve, 1945, the Cleveland Rams, that's right, that's who they used to be. I know, it's crazy how these things happen. So anyway, the reason I'm saying is that the Cleveland Rams won their first championship, beating the Washington team, 15-14 at Cleveland Stadium in negative 8th-degree weather in what was the coldest game in NFL history at the time. That was the last game that the Rams played in Cleveland as they moved to Los Angeles in the offseason. So it wasn't 1945 Christmas Eve, but the reason I'm bringing up 1945 is because that is the last time the Cleveland Rams played in Cleveland and they left. And again, why is that important? Because now we move on to actual Christmas Eve 1950. So I was giving you some background because I don't think people realize that the Rams were actually a Cleveland team because a lot of teams have kind of moved around. And I don't think people realized that before. So yeah, so the Rams were a Cleveland team and then they moved to Los Angeles in the off season. And so again, Christmas Eve 1950, here we go. The Rams were back in Cleveland for the NFL championship. This time against the Cleveland Browns. So the former team came back and played against the new team, the Cleveland Browns. It would be the first of 3 championship battles between the Browns over the next 6 years, from 1950. The contest was evenly matched on slick turf of Cleveland Stadium. It all came down to Cleveland's final drive. There was 1.48 minutes left in regulation with LA up by a single point. And the game rested in the hands of veteran Browns signal caller Otto Graham. Using both his legs and short passing game, Graham engineered a drive down the field as the Rams defenders had to sit back due to slippery conditions. Remember, this is before domes. Christmas Eve 1950 in the Midwest, right? So cold, slick, everything slippery. And so they're playing in those elements. With 20 seconds remaining, Cleveland kicker Lou Groza nailed a 16-yard field goal to put the Browns up by 2. The Rams gave everyone a scare on a kickoff return when Jerry Williams caught Groza's kick and was going through traffic, racing, and slippery conditions, made it 35 yards before Groza himself tackled, that's right, the kicker, tackled this guy to the ground. And so Cleveland actually won the 1950 Christmas Eve national championship because there was no Super Bowl. Okay, Super Bowl is common era, right? So this was the NFL championship, and so they went on to defeat the LA Rams 38-28. And so again, that is the Christmas Eve championship game, 1950. Moving on to Christmas Eve, 1961. Another championship game, because you have to remember the reason this happens because football was shorter, right? It wasn't like these long weeks; they were a lot shorter. So they're about like 14 weeks, and that's why a lot of championship games or a lot of the even division games, right, or division to move on to championships would happen around this time, around Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. So, all right, so Christmas Eve, 1961, Balboa Stadium, San Diego. The AFL championship game took place, but there were 2 leagues also. Sorry, I think I've said that a few times during sharing history in the NFL. Took place as the San Diego Chargers, because that's who they were at the time, hosted the Houston Oilers. FYI, they are today's Tennessee Titans, because I don't know if you guys know, but that was a big hoopla because Houston Oilers had a big history, and they left, they were moved to Tennessee, and they were actually Tennessee Oilers for a while too, before they became the Tennessee Titans. So anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there. I don't know if you knew that. But at this time, the Houston Oilers still existed. And so Houston's high-flying offense was subdued by the Chargers' defense. So the Chargers' defense has been known, I guess, it's kind of been off, right? The Chargers for a long time were known for being a defensive team, like even in the 60s, for most of the contest. But Houston defenders, they weren't quite either. They actually sacked the Chargers QB at the time, Jack Kemp, 6 times. He was sacked 6 times in this game. He was intercepted 4 times. And so it was a really rough game. 13 players between both teams were assisted off the field because, again, not a lot of safety measures, right? This is 1960s, so people were getting hurt left and right. But the Oilers' Billy Cannon scored the game's only touchdown on a 35-yard pass play from George Blanda as the Oilers actually beat the Chargers 10-3. Okay, we keep complaining about these low-scoring games today, right? We've been seeing a lot more of those, these 10-3, 10-7. This is an AFL championship game. And the final score was 10-3, and the Oilers won that one. So let's remind people that I guess we're headed back to, I guess both teams are becoming a lot better again, kind of even keel. So I guess seeing these 10-3, 10-6, 9-7, games that we've been seeing, we're seeing them again, recently in these past, the games, the past few seasons. Anyway, moving on. So 2 divisional games also took place on Christmas Eve on 1967. One of them was Dallas Cowboys. They put a hurting on the Cleveland Browns. That's right. The Cleveland Browns went to a lot of division rivalry games. They went to a lot of championships before the Super Bowl era. They were actually known to be, one of the teams to beat, before the Super Bowl era. So, but the Dallas Cowboys actually beat the Browns at this time 52-14 to advance. Dandy Don Meredith tossed 2 touchdown passes with 212 yards, but the Cowboys' ground game of Don Perkins and Craig Bainham with 2 touchdowns each powered the scoring for Dallas. And so the Dallas Cowboys actually won that divisional game, Christmas Eve, 1967. They beat the Browns 52-14. The second one was the Green Bay Packers, who won their division playoff game against the LA Rams 28-7. So there were 2 divisional games, Christmas Eve, 1967. And then we'll move on to Christmas Day. To throw that out to you college folks, I think it's kind of cool. So on Christmas Day, 1894, the first intersectional college football game was played as the University of Chicago played Stanford University. The game was most likely established between the two coaches who were together at Yale University over a decade earlier. Stanford's coach was the father of football Walter Camp, who used to coach at the University of Chicago's head coach, Amos Alonzo Stagg. And so, anyways, so there you go. The first intersectional college football game happened Christmas Day, 1894. Cool beans. So now we'll go to the Christmas Day games. All right. So on Saturday in 1971, the NFL decided to play its first Christmas games of that season, almost 4 decades after the NFL played its first Thanksgiving game. Those games were the Dallas Cowboys. The teams actually played on the first Christmas Day game in 1971 were the Cowboys, the Vikings, Kansas City Chiefs, and the Miami Dolphins. So those are 4 first teams and the 2 games that played on Christmas Day. And these, again, were divisional round playoff games. Again, same reason, shorter football season. So 1971, the Miami Dolphins and the Kansas City Chiefs played in a very memorable game on Christmas Day in the AFC divisional contest. According to Pro Football Hall of Fame, it ended up being the longest NFL game ever, as it went to 2 overtime sessions. Remember, this is before all these different rules, okay? That's why it's still considered the longest NFL game ever. It went into 2 overtime sessions before Miami kicker Garo, and I'm sorry, I'm going to say this wrong, Yepremian booted a 37-yard field goal to advance the Dolphins in a 27-24 thriller. So again, that is the exciting game, although the first game, officially the first Christmas game, went to the Cowboys and Miami, but that one kind of people don't really look at as memorably, even though they are technically the first game, because of how great the Miami and Kansas City was. So they were overshadowed by the second game, of the day. But the noon game was the Cowboys and the Vikings, and, Cowboys did win that game. Cowboys 20, Minnesota 12. And so those were the 2 Christmas Day games. And the NFL waited another 18 years before playing on Christmas again. And it's not because Christmas didn't fall on a Saturday or Sunday during that gap. The league actively avoided Christmas when scheduling its games. And so that's kind of why Christmas games actually fell on a Sunday in 1977, 83, and 1988. But the NFL, they don't want to deal with that. And so they decided to do their divisional playoff games on the Saturdays before Christmas. And they wanted to avoid Mondays conflicting with people's holiday plans, right? They thought people were traveling, no one's going to watch it. And so they didn't put any Christmas Day games on Mondays either. And because, I don't know if you know this, if you watch other sports, the NBA is one that's owned most of the, Christmas Day viewership for a long time. But the NFL, which is considered the great white shark of content, in recent days has, swallowed up viewership. And the reason there are so many Christmas games is because Roger Goodell. He became commissioner in 2006, and the NFL has played 15 of its 27 Christmas games between 2006 and 2022. The reason we have so many Christmas games now is because Roger Goodell likes them. And that's why now we have Christmas Day games. Yeah. So doesn't belong to the NBA anymore, although there's, but that's why. There you go. Those are your Christmas Eve Day games and your Christmas Day facts.
All right. Well, thank you, Delilah. Yeah, money is the big reason Christmas games are on. You know that money. You don't want that money.
But all these other people, they don't want to do it. They don't want to do it. And like,
make that money. Make that cheddar. All right. Well, listen, we do thank you for that, Delilah. We're going to take a quick break, guys, and we'll be back in just a moment, okay? Hang with us.
fired. Sean Payton put together a solid game plan 2 weeks in a row. This is a big. But overall, I can't complain too much. We just need to see the Bills perform at an exceptional level against Oregon.
This was our third win in a row. Very happy. I'm just concerned about
That, of course, was the Mile High Minute, which you can catch. Tina, when can we catch the Mile High Minute? When do you guys do that?
It's kind of depends on our schedule. Usually we try and record it on Mondays, so it comes out like Tuesday or Wednesday. This week we're going to do it on Thursday, just because of scheduling.
Okay.
So
Sure.
we do try and record as close to the game, so you are getting like our raw, off the cuff kind of reactions to the game.
100%.
Yeah. So
Awesome.
Yep.
No, but check for that, guys. Mile High Minute.
Yeah, I needed a little buffer after the game on Saturday.
Yeah, you might have. I don't know if you wanted to talk about that one right away. They would have had to cancel. They would have had to bleep out half of what you said, probably, right? That would have been.
I was so over that game.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. I actually picked Denver to win this past weekend because I thought, maybe Detroit's reeling a little bit from that Bears loss, and then they came out on fire, and that was the end of Denver. So there was some bad calls in that game too. But yeah, we all know what happened there. All right, but let us move on. Sean Spencer has rejoined us. Thank you, Sean, for coming back. We're going to talk a little playoffs now, boys and girls, because as you know, some teams have been eliminated officially, and some teams have clinched. So I figure we'll start with the eliminated teams, and we'll just get that out of the way, because there are 3 teams in each conference that have been officially eliminated. So for your AFC teams, and I don't know that there's too many surprises here, but New England Patriots were the first team eliminated, right? New England Patriots. Your New York Jets, which, again, not a big surprise. But after this weekend, the Tennessee Titans have now officially been eliminated, as it were, from the AFC. So, guys, what do we think of this? I mean, let's start with the Patriots real quick. All signs point to Belichick is gone after this year. What in the hell can the Patriots do to rebound from all that has happened? From the Mac Jones debacle, Belichick's last year, who's the new coach, any of that stuff. What can the Patriots do here, guys? Go ahead. Somebody give me something.
I think they do need some fresh. I think it's time to revamp, right? Bill Belichick gave them success for many, many seasons. We know that. And it's we keep saying it's modern football, but it is, right? And I think it's time for them to kind of move on and see if they could find, some new coaches and give some support. I'm not sold on their quarterbacks. Even seasons ago, I told you I'm not sold on Mac Jones, and Zappy ain't the guy either, apparently. So I think that it is time for them to kind of revamp, refresh, see what they could do. Their defense was still pretty solid. We saw that, defense actually is the one that actually won them a lot of those games, right? Because they were able to stop a lot of offenses so that the offense could do some stuff. So, but yeah, I think it's time for them to kind of refresh and look in a new direction and see what they could do,
Yeah. Nope. I think you're 100% correct with that. And again, they were the first team officially eliminated, I believe, out of this group. But the Jets, I mean, did anybody think after Aaron Rodgers went down that the Jets had a chance? I mean, when you told it, they'll be sold and moved to St. Louis. And the St. Louis Patriots, that ought to be fun. I mean, I know St. Louis is dying for a football franchise. Jason Slade said, are my Packers and Oilers eliminated? No, Jason, as of right now, they are not officially eliminated. They're still alive.
Are we going?
You mean the Houston Texans, or are you talking about the Titans? Titans are eliminated. Titans, after this past week, they were officially gone. But I mean, for the Jets, though, is anybody surprised by that after Rodgers went down after 4 plays? I mean, the writing was on the wall. I mean, you tried to get rid of,
Absolutely
you didn't want Zach Wilson to play, right? You didn't want him to play, and then you had to go back to him. So that was that, right?
Yeah, absolutely not. I was not surprised at all when the Jets started. As good as their defense is, and I will give them points for that, they do have a good defense. The rest of the team is nothing because, as I've said many, many times on this show, Hackett's system doesn't work if you don't have a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers running.
Right, there you go.
And it showed. They had a couple of games here and there that they did well in, but it was here and there and not a lot of consistency. So I'm not surprised they're out. So
No, fair enough. And then, of course, the Tennessee Titans with young Will Levis at quarterback, who has shown some fight this year. I like what Will has shown, that he was not afraid to speak, especially that 1 week again with DeAndre Hopkins, where he's chewing him out on the sideline, like, "Hey, dude," and you just go, "That's what I'm talking about." Will, don't be afraid to get the veteran. He's running the wrong route, or he's not catching the ball. You yell at him. But anyways, Tennessee's done for this season. But what do you think, Sean? Is there some promise here going forward with Will Levis and some of this? I mean, do you think Derrick Henry tries to go somewhere else, or is it time for him to call it a career?
I mean, I wonder how many years he has left.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I do.
He's getting older.
I do.
He's getting older. Same with Tannehill. You know what I mean? And Vrabel's he's another one that potentially could be on his way out. I mean, so I honestly, coming into the season, I didn't have the highest of hopes for Tennessee, and Tennessee actually didn't do that bad. That defense isn't that bad, and I'm impressed by Will Levis and what he's done. Kind of stinks for Malik Willis because he just totally got bypassed on that list. But but
pretty sure.
At the end of the day, I don't know that how much weight we can put in them holding everybody together for another ride.
Yeah.
Because they're already kind of falling apart. The fact that they even went and got DeAndre Hopkins in the first place shows that they were, because he wasn't DeAndre of his prime. You know what I'm saying? He was. Yeah. This is a little past his years, kind of like when AJ Green got picked up by the Cardinals. So.
Oh yeah, that's true. Man. Yeah, no, it should be. I mean, but again, those are your 3 eliminated teams so far from the AFC. Let's go to the NFC here. You can see the list, guys. I mean, the Carolina Panthers, not a surprise, right? That's, they had a bad team kind of going in. You got the rookie quarterback getting there, Bryce Young. He didn't really have anything to work with, let's be honest. Luckily for us, we have that first pick that Carolina is probably going to get. So we're looking like we're going to get that number 1 pick, our Chicago Bears. So I'm happy about that. But I don't think anybody's really surprised by Carolina, are they? That was doomed to happen quickly. Right, no surprises there. Cardinals, Arizona Cardinals are the next on that list. I mean, do we know, what is happening in Arizona? Like, I know Kyler Murray didn't come back till half the year was over, but what in the world is going on in Arizona? Does anybody have any thoughts on what the Cardinals are doing there?
I don't think they know what they're doing. I think that honestly they thought, and I understand, because when we first saw Kyler come in, everybody was excited about this kid, right? And then he got hurt, and then there were all these other things going on. And so I think that for a while they were building that team to be, Kyler's team, right? And then he's injury prone, he's in and out. And so I think that's really what happened to them, is it didn't go the way they planned. And so I think that now they have to figure out how to move forward with him and start from scratch again, which sucks, right?
Well, didn't they already start from scratch this year? They pretty much got rid of every decent player they kind of had.
But I think they got to figure out their QB move. You know what I mean? Now they do have to kind of, because he's not a rookie anymore, right? He's 5th year, 6th year, I don't remember.
I have to check on the Kyler Murray. Yeah, he's got to be close to the end. And the thing is, you're getting a high draft pick if you're the Cardinals again. Right. I mean, you've only got 3 wins as well. So, I mean, is there a Drake May in their future? Is there a who else is coming out for the college quarterbacks this year besides Caleb Williams and Drake May?
Yeah,
there's a few out there, right?
It's only because we know he's always injured now, right? It's like he misses and that's unfortunate, right? Because you can't. It just happens like that sometimes. So I guess that's kind of where I think that's where they're stuck at, and so I feel like you do have to draft a quarterback to help him out. I don't think you get rid of him. That's kind of crazy. I think if he's his 4th option, 5th option.
Yeah, I'd have to check on it. I'll be honest. I'm sorry, I don't know that.
To me, they should still keep him.
I just looked. They just signed his 5th year option last
year. That makes sense. Yeah,
so he's done. His contract's up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so his contract's up this year. Then there you go.
Yeah, so
that could be the end of Kyler Murray in Arizona.
It might be. So that's why I wasn't sure. Yeah, I wasn't sure. So I don't know. It kind of sucks though. I think because we saw a lot of talent in him, right? I mean, especially for being a smaller guy.
What do you mean? Did they pay? What do you mean?
Did they not pay him? I thought that was a
They
big
paid him for his
above.
They paid him for his
Well,
fifth-year option.
They paid him for. They picked up the 5th-year option apparently. So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll see.
They'll
But
pay him for that, and then probably be gone next year. Then probably.
yeah. But I
Looks
think
like the
that's really
Cardinals
what
are
happened
drafting the
now.
quarterback, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Pick him up.
I think they will be.
They might take your boy, Sean. Carolina, Mr. Drake May might go to the Arizona Cardinals. You never know.
I
But
can see it.
Sean, the last team on that list, I think you're a little familiar with, even though you may not want to talk too much about this. Your Washington Commanders were officially eliminated from El Playoff Contención this past weekend. What are your feelings on that, sir?
Well, we might also be in that QB hunt. I mean, it looks like everybody was kind of correct on the Sam Howell situation. I still contest it, but when you don't win games, it doesn't matter what you have to say. Same reason I think we're having a lot of this conversation about Justin Fields is because if you don't win, then people have the right, then they get to say it. Nobody really questions Patrick Mahomes and his excitement over what happened because we know he's a winner. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's an interesting standard that we put on some of these quarterbacks, but I'll get off my soapbox. As far as Commanders, I think all of you guys, I think you were right, Nick, before the season. I think Ben, all of you, Johnny, a lot of you were talking about Sam's not the guy. I personally think it's crazy for us to look at a team that has everything else that we can say is in a dumpster fire, and yet we can still judge Sam in the same way. But at the end of the day, you can't say anything. The coaching was bad. We've had players that were bad. And once we traded, Montez Sweat, who you guys benefited from, and Chase Young, who I think got his first sack against the Cardinals, I mean, the writing was on the wall. So Ron is on his way out. So I'm not surprised by this, especially with how we played. And now, I mean, we got Jacoby in there, and right now we've got, I think, the 3rd or 4th pick with our record.
Yeah.
So
you guys are up there now too. So yeah, exactly.
There's a number of guys: Caleb Williams, Drake May, Sam Hartman, Bo Nix, Michael Penix.
Yeah, Bo Nix, Oregon. Yeah, Penix Jr.
There's a ton of quarterbacks that are available. So I'm sure we'll be in the running for something because whoever the new coach is probably going to want his guy. And
that's true. That's very true. Yeah, but I understand how you feel. Like I said, it's kind of the Bears thing, right? Because Justin Fields a bum, get rid of the guy, this and this and that. But coaching has been bad. Like the offense line we finally had the first time since the last 3-4 years, we had the same offensive line start 4 games in a row, and then Tevin Jenkins leaves the game, and I almost cried. So it's just like, really, we finally had something going on the offensive line. And Tevin Jenkins goes out, and you just go, why is this happening? So I totally feel your pain on that one, my friend. Again, it wasn't that because I knew we talked about this, and you and I'll get out of this briefly after I say this. But yeah, Sam Howell, I wanted to see. I wasn't sold, but at the same time, your passion and everything made me say, well, let me give the kid a chance. Let me see if he can do something.
Can I ask you why you weren't sold initially?
Initially, why I wasn't sold? I think it was a combination of things. He seemed like he had an arm. I won't deny that. I saw the kid throw. I thought he had an arm. Okay, but unfortunately, as you know, an arm doesn't always equate to a great success in the NFL. And I didn't. And again, I could have been wrong about this, but I thought he wasn't the most mobile guy. And I think, like you said, he had a couple of weapons on offense. But I don't know that everything gelled, that it just didn't look like it was going to be a situation where that kid was going to succeed. Yeah, you start him because he's the rookie and all this, or he had the 1 start last year. But I just wasn't sold. I mean, I don't. Again, that could come from nothing else than me. Just from what and again, that's not always a great barometer because some people, as you know, are lights out in college and suck in the NFL. And you've had guys who have done crap in college and have come out and been great quarterbacks. So again, not always a great judge of that. But yeah, you and I talked about this
with the system, like kind of with Justin Fields and how you guys are saying like it's a defensive coach and they're not helping him. Does any of that I guess that's been my whole argument this whole year. When does my situation seems fairly similar to the situation you guys are going through? So why is it that Sam is looked at as he'd be lucky if he makes it, and then other quarterbacks, it's like, oh yeah, give them the benefit of the doubt until they fail. I think that's the problem I've always had because I look at other
Right.
teams and these quarterbacks were saying, oh yeah, they're the best, they're this, and that. And then with Sam, it's like he hold on. All accurate statements. He hold on to the ball. He takes sacks, yada yada. But if your play call is if your quarterback, if you don't have a running game, you can't rely on the run, so you have to throw it all the time. If your defense is not helping and you're coming in, in the Bears game, our first 2 drives we went 3 and out. You guys went up 10-0. No matter how badly you were struggling, you still had that early momentum on us, and we didn't get kickstarted to the second quarter. By that time, you had already been up by like 20 points. You get what I'm saying? Like,
I got you.
A lot has to do with the scheme and things that are coming together. Because if you looked at him from college, he still holds the record for most passing touchdowns in the ACC with 93. You know what I mean? The guy was a stud in college with talent and without. And then I just think from all the guys, I hold you guys high respect. So whenever we talk football, I always kind of want to see where people are coming from.
No, sure, absolutely.
You know, when people are saying it, I'm kind of like, oh, okay, that's interesting. That's interesting. So, yeah.
Well, again, I get it. Like I said, and I just, again, I don't say I'm an expert on any of this. Again, I see what I see, or I look at something and go, okay. And like, again, there was a lot of things like you said, in Washington that just didn't seem like they were going to go in this kid's favor, and it turned out to be that they didn't. So again, it may seem like I looked like I was right, but
I don't know if
he
would have brought in any quarterback that would have been able to work with that team.
No, and that's true. And no, I get it. I get it 100%. So let us move on then, because those teams are the ones that are eliminated, but there are 4 teams that have clinched as well. And of course, only one in the AFC, which of course is the Baltimore Ravens, who have officially clinched a playoff spot. Shout out to Nathan Snell, who probably is extremely happy, but knowing Nate, he'll do an entire podcast on why the Ravens won't do well in the playoffs. But we love Nate. And the Ravens are currently in, so they're in, Nate. Be happy. Celebrate for now. You guys look like you could potentially be the 1 seed there in the AFC the way things are going. You guys keep on winning. I think it's yours. But yeah, how do we – and I'll ask this just to all of you. How do we feel about Baltimore? We've seen this before. Lamar Jackson, much maligned through a lot of his career, having a very good year. They have a very good.
I liked him. I've been saying that for seasons.
I'm just saying, much maligned though by a lot of people, Mr. Jackson, for not having a strong arm, not having this, not doing that. He's just a running quarterback, all that. But finally got a couple of weapons with him. Finally got some guys who can catch a football. Defense is playing well. Roquan Smith, who we gave up to Baltimore, things like that. So how do we feel about Baltimore going into these playoffs? Do we think they have a chance to make a run at the old Super Bowl? What do you guys think?
I think they do have a chance, better than last year. We saw it. I think so. Last season we saw, and no hate on. Oh my God, I knew his name 2 seconds ago. What's wrong with me? Huntley, yeah. Right? He was the one who went in when Lamar got hurt.
Oh yeah, the backup.
So last season we saw what happened when the Ravens were making that run. Right? That playoff run that they didn't want Baltimore, they didn't want to pay him. And so there was a lot of things going on. And so Lamar's like, you know what? I'm still hurt. I'm just gonna chill. I'm gonna heal and see how you guys do without me. And he proved his point.
Yeah.
He proved his point, didn't he? He proved his point. He's like, all right, go ahead. Let me heal my knee or whatever it was. Yeah, I remember. He was like, I was like, go ahead. And I think that it finally proves what he's been trying to say. And I've always felt really crummy for him because he's out there saying like, no, why am I not being discussed? I'm doing what I got to do. I'm running, I'm passing, and I still am aligned and, and all the jokes and stuff. And so I'm glad that they made it to the playoffs, And so, and I don't know if they'll make it all the way to the Super Bowl, but I think they can make a good run for it. I'm not gonna say that they're not gonna I think they can make a good run for it. I think it's right that they're first seed. I think that people didn't take them seriously when they came in again this season, and I feel that they more than proved that they deserve to be in the playoffs. And I don't know what else Lamar has to do except win a Super Bowl, right? That's always what people want, isn't it?
Yeah, that's exactly it. he is in the best position he's ever been to try and win a
Yeah.
Super Bowl. And considering what people were saying and considering what happened last season, if he doesn't win a Super Bowl, that question mark's always going to be there.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
the fact of the matter is
Mhm.
with that. And I think he's a
Yep.
very talented guy, and I understood why he was doing it. It's just that there's always going to be someone on the other side saying, you chose wrong. You don't have the
Right,
quarter.
you
You
did.
don't have the
Yeah.
ring. So, yeah.
There it is. Nope, very true. So let's look at the NFC, which of course we know, I think we all agree that definitely the weaker of the two conferences at this point, but 3 teams now have already, to show you that 3 teams have already clinched in the old NFC. I mean, isn't this one of those things where you go, I kind of thought at least 2 or 3 of, these 3 teams would probably end up in the playoffs anyways, going into this year. What do you think of the 49ers being the 1 seed? Is that what everybody would have predicted when the season started?
Yeah, I thought they were going to go to the Super Bowl last season before Purdy went down, to be honest.
Yeah, right. A lot of people did think that. That's true. We were all watching going, oh no, that is not good. But you consider
especially when you get down to your 3rd quarterback.
I know. Yeah. And then they put CMC briefly. Remember that? That was CMC.
At some point, you just
created
go,
a rule change this year.
Yeah, right. I mean,
So,
what else do you do at that point? Just throw in anybody. I mean, they could have called Sean, and Sean could have quarterbacked. It would have been the same. What else are you going to do? You have no choice. You're getting killed, by an Eagles team. What do? You kind of throw in the towel and go, damn, we lost this one. Let's regroup, come back next year. And they have. And to their credit, again, this is a, we always talk about this stuff too. They call the last pick in the draft Mr. Irrelevant. I don't think Brock Purdy's being called Mr. Irrelevant anymore now, is he? I think he's pretty relevant, my friends, and he's leading this. And again, you could say, maybe this is the opposite. Sean talking about having no support and this kid walked into a pretty good situation with a ready-made team, essentially. So to the victor goes the spoils, I guess. Purdy got the best of everything, and look at what's happened. The kid, everybody thinks and again, he's not, I'm not saying he's not he's a good quarterback. I'm not saying he isn't. But is the situation helping the fact of his, development and the way that he's progressed? Does that help? It has to, right? I mean, you came in with one of the greatest
talent.
Yeah.
He's surrounded by talent, and then he's got a coach that's willing to change the system to his strengths and what he can do.
Yes.
So that's the conversation we've been having all over this place is about this. So, I mean,
someone like a freak CMC who could do whatever, and then you got.
I mean, darn it! You actually changed your game plan to fit your quarterback. What a novel idea! I can't believe they thought of that. Oh my goodness, that's phenomenal.
Yeah,
maybe not.
Yeah, they're just great. I mean, and they're balanced, right? Because their defense is no slouch either. So.
Well, defense is good. Both of their lines. I mean, both of their lines are top 5, defensive and offensive. They both have great lines. They have 2 great lines. I mean, you've got Christian McCaffrey's in your backfield. Hello. You got Tebow, you got George Kittle at the tight end position. I think he's in a great situation, and it shows. They're the number 1 seed as of right now. But how about them Cowboys? Now, maybe I'm going to upset some Dallas fans right now with what I'm about to say, but whatever, I'll live with it. I'm still not sold on the Cowboys, not because Dak is not having a good year. I get it, okay? I get it. But I still have the image of watching Ezekiel Elliott get knocked on his ass last year on that last play of that game, trying to do that trick play that just reminds me how Dallas always folds when it counts. Now, again, right now they're listed as the number 2 seed, but that doesn't give them a bye, obviously, because the number 1 seed is the only team that gets a bye. So what do we think? I mean, are we going to see a repeat of just every Cowboys team we've seen in the last 10 years where they have a great regular season, and the minute they get to the playoffs, they crap the bed? What do you guys think? Is this a different year for Dallas?
Yeah, honestly, I think if they don't have to come against, and this is obviously hard, if they don't have to come against a rushing team, a team that can run the ball very well, then they actually are my favorite to go to the Super Bowl. To be quite honest,
Okay.
they have the defense number one. They have the offensive weapons number two. We know what they do with the coaching. I do have an issue with their adjustments, as you saw in the Buffalo game. They didn't really make adjustments in that second half, and that's why they weren't able to turn it around. But honestly, if you honestly look at them and you look at if they are coming this thing, and let's say they get the 5 seed. Then they play the winner of the NFC South. Easy matchup there. As long as they don't have to play a San Francisco, they're already proven they can beat Philly. They stomped them the second time and barely lost to them the first time. So, exception of San Francisco, or the exception of somebody that has a dominant run game. San Francisco got him. Philly got him in the first game. What's it called? Arizona. They had
that fluke Arizona game, right?
Yeah. Who does two play?
Again,
I forgot.
But again, if you go,
who's in the two?
Two plays 7.
Sevens. Okay.
Two plays 7, 4, 5, 3, 6. Yeah.
Okay.
But if you look at that Arizona game, what hurt Dallas was the mobility. Josh Dobbs is a very mobile quarterback. The running game had over 200 yards in that game. We've realized the middle of that defense for Dallas is suspect. I mean, forever great the secondary and the linebackers, Michael Parsons is, the middle of that line is suspect. But they don't have it. They don't have to. If they get just shootouts, they don't have to face a running game. They're my favorite in the NFC.
Okay, no, that's fair. And again, I don't mean to dump on Cowboy fans, and I know it's a fun thing to do, and everybody thinks it's funny. But you do at some point go, when do they break that curse for themselves and finally get over the hump? I mean, this could very well be the year in that NFC. So I'll definitely be looking to see how that happens as that progresses. If they stay that number 2 seed, or if the Eagles find a way to overtake them, which, let's talk about said Philadelphia Eagles. The reigning NFC champions got to the Super Bowl. We all know how they lost on that last drive comeback, but they still came up short. Eagles have been interesting this year because they it's still the same team essentially, right? I don't think anybody's really gone. I don't remember anybody. They pretty much have the same team they had last year. Hurts another year to improve himself, huh?
They lost their coordinators, offensive and defensive.
Oh, they lost the coordinator. Okay, right. Okay, they lost it. Okay. But same team in terms of that. So, you have the same personnel essentially. Well, what do you guys think? Do the Eagles find a way to overtake Dallas, or do they stay the 5 and have to play that, definitely play that first weekend? What do we think of the Eagles as of right now?
I don't trust it.
You don't trust it?
I don't. I think it's funny that we just said, sometimes it's the coaches. Obviously, in this case, it is. Because it is the same players. And Sean is right. Only thing that changed were the coordinators. And so, I guess maybe that's why we see injuries, but we've all seen inconsistencies in their play, right? Where they'll go out and they'll go out, but then they'll make really bad mistakes. We almost beat them, and that was surprising, right? I was like, what? So
no, that would have been nice, but
So
last year and this year, exactly. You should have had them both times.
But I'm saying it's the way they're playing is not the high caliber they were last year. It took them to the Super Bowl is what I meant, right? And it's hard to do back-to-back Super Bowls now. It's really not.
Yeah.
That back-to-back Super Bowl run.
Unless you're the Chiefs.
Yeah. Well, and even then they've been a year off, right, or a season. You know what I mean? It's just. That's what I'm saying. It's that back-to-back, boom, boom, boom. It's really difficult to do, and I think that they also play. Teams learn their system, right? That tush push that we always made fun of. Eventually, people figured out how to defend it. You know what I mean? People figured it out, and so I think that now teams know how to beat them. And honestly, I just don't see them playing like they did last year. Last year they were lights out. Right? Last year they were whatever. And
it happens.
And so I just don't see them winning the NFC this time and doing a Super Bowl run. I do think it'll be, for me, it's 49. To me, I think the NFC championship game is going to be the really fun and classic 49ers and Cowboys. I think that's what I'm going to see for the NFC championship.
Okay. Yeah. Harken back to the late 80s, early 90s there with Dallas and San Francisco. Classic matchups of past, right?
Yes.
Exactly.
I think that's what we're gonna see.
I think Philly is going to win the East, though, and the reason why I say that is you look at the last 3 games Philly's got. They got the Giants twice, and then they got Arizona.
Yeah.
As opposed to Dallas. Dallas has Miami, Detroit, and then obviously they get a cupcake in Washington at the very end of the year. But still, with Miami and Detroit both having stuff to play for, and again, let's remember Detroit wants to be moved up a little bit. They want to be jumped up in there. So it's going to be interesting. Sure. Yeah, I think Philly's got it. It's going to be interesting to see because Philly reminds me a little bit of KC, who Tina knows very well, who we all questioned during the season when they struggle. Right. But the last 5 years, they've been at least in the AFC Championship game. So it's kind of like, is it something where they found out, just get through the season? Because they were 10-1 up until these last 3 games when they went to 10-4. So maybe it's something like it's just get to the playoffs and then the new season begins. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. No, and that's sometimes what happens. You get hot at the right time, and like kind of Cincinnati a couple years ago when they ended up playing in the Super Bowl against the Rams. Mm-hmm. They got hot at the right time, and look what happened. So, a lot of possibilities here. Again, we're only 4 teams officially clinched in the NFC, 3 in the NFC and 1 in the AFC. So still a lot of football. Obviously, after Week 16 this week, I think the playoff picture will be a little bit more clear after we get past this weekend. So we'll definitely be watching for all of that. Well, as always, we always thank everyone for watching. We're not quite done yet, but I appreciate you guys hanging with us. As always, we finish the show with a segment we call One Last Thought. And I thought, being that it is the week of Christmas for all of us, for everyone who does celebrate. So I thought it would be nice to just ask everyone, our esteemed panel who we have here, and we'll start with our guest, Mr. Spencer. Sean, what is one of the greatest or 1 or 2 of the greatest or most gifts that you received that were either very special or that were just great gifts that you got? What are some of the things, you got as Christmas gifts that you were really fond of?
I mean, I remember I got my Sega Genesis. I was really excited about that. It was like a Costco bundle pack. It was really great.
I think this is really great.
Very, very excited about that. The funniest gift I got is my dad had got us a whole bunch of stuff, and he was like, "All right, I got one more gift for you." And then it's a picture. It was wrapped up. I was like, "What is it?" And it was a picture of him, and he had autographed it. And he said, "You can have it." He said, "You can have it." He said, "No, it's no sweat. It's this one's on me." I was like, "Almost like that, Dad." So,
it's funny. He gave you an autographed picture of himself. I love that. That is absolutely hilarious. That is phenomenal. Here you go, kids. I'm your daddy. Here's my picture sign for you. Yeah, take that. That is beautiful. I love that. Maybe I should try. I don't have kids. Maybe I should try that with somebody else. Give my nieces autographed pictures of me. Just be like, from Uncle Kiki. Here you go. Love. Take it with you everywhere. Carry it around. That'd be hilarious. Now, you gave me an idea. I might have do that as a gag gift one year and just give everybody autographed photos. That might actually work. That's pretty funny. Tina, how about you? Any great gifts that you received or something that really sticks out to you?
My dad is kind of a hit or miss kind of guy with gifts. I love him to death, but a lot of times he would buy things that he found interesting. But my favorite, my most, and the funniest are, so if you guys been able to come to the party, you would have been able to see
I know,
the Christmas Story leg lamp the guy bought for me for Christmas.
Yes.
It literally is life size. It's exactly the same. But then one year,
must be Italian.
Yeah.
Must be Italian.
It's sitting right in the window. Everybody up and down Sheridan Road can see it. So
nice.
But
nice.
My favorite gift one year, and this is kind of why I say my dad's hit or miss, is one year I went to him and I said, I want one of those robot vacuum cleaners.
The
iRobot, the root, whatever they call it. Roomba? I gotta tell you, that is the Roomba. That is my favorite gift, absolutely, because I hate to vacuum. I'm like, I did. He hadn't even gotten it. it got charged, and I had that thing running around the house because it was
Nice.
now I just have to find a cat that'll sit on it. Like
There you go.
house.
Nice and easy.
Yeah,
That's
so.
awesome. All right, Delilah, how about you? Anything that sticks out present-wise for over the years?
Not present-wise per se, but I do enjoy the fact that we open our gifts on Christmas Eve at midnight. So I always thought that was fun. All of us opening gifts in front of our our parents and cousins and and all of that. But we would still wake up the next day and still get that whole Christmas thing too, because then they would have other stuff hidden away.
Right.
So even though we opened gifts at midnight, we would still have that American, you know what I mean? So we still Christmas morning, and so I just always like the feeling of that. I miss that. It's just it goes fast. Yeah, let me tell you, you never realize when that's gonna be your last childhood type Christmas.
Yeah,
and that's kind of what I miss. You know what I mean? You just don't know when that's gonna happen. We're like, oh my god, I'm not,
right? 100%.
That's what I miss. That's the part that I miss. It's just that feeling, the excitement, and just the unadulterated, just pure joy.
Yeah,
and just innocence, and my parents probably exhausted. From all the 2 days of Christmas activities and hiding gifts and putting stuff out, and and now they gotta feed. Now they gotta feed us.
Feed me.
Breakfast.
Food. Right, give me breakfast.
But that's the part that I really enjoy. Just that feel of it. That's really the best part. And well, we could capturing that again would be lovely.
No, I know you're right about that, and I think it's funny because the two that stick out in my mind in terms of that I really remember, and one was a surprise, but I'll get to that in a second. I was 9 years old, and I had been asking, probably for a couple of years, for just a nice train, little electric car, track. And I thought, well, I'm never going to get it. It didn't happen. And then when I was 9 years old, Christmas, I just see this big box that says to Nikki from, blah, 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 mom and dad, I think it said. And I open it up and my eyes just got this big. I'm like, yes, I finally got the track I wanted. So my dad right away, he was excited too. We set it up. I raced that thing probably for about 6 hours straight, wore out the cars, wore out the battery control. I just wouldn't stop playing with it. It was just the greatest thing in the world. And then the other one was actually from my grandmother. Now, normally, grandma would give me socks or whatever. 1 year out of nowhere, she totally shocked me. I almost thought, are you sure this is for me? She gave me a University of Illinois Simeon Rice jersey.
Wow.
And I went, how does grandma even know that I like football? It was just one of those things where I'm like, are you sure this is for me? Because I'm going to take this. And even if it's not for me, it's mine now. So thank you, grandma. But yeah, it was really good. 97, that Simeon Rice University of Illinois jersey. 1 year for Christmas, just out of nowhere, grandma threw that at me. And I was like, thank you so much, grandma. That was awesome. So, yeah. But I know what you mean, Delilah, because a lot of the family, stuff, in the morning with the breakfast and the whole thing. And you got, I do miss that because that hasn't happened in years, obviously, with all the, being an adult and you do all this different stuff. And sometimes I've worked on Christmas, so I haven't even been around. And just those things. You do kind of, you don't realize how much you miss that until you sit down and think about it and go, man, we don't do that anymore. That just doesn't happen. So, yeah, some of that family tradition stuff that you really, when you're a kid, you're like, oh, we got to do that. And then you get older and go, damn, I wish we still did that. That would be great. So, yeah, I totally feel you on that one. Well, this is the end of another show. But again, we thank you guys so much for sticking with us. Everybody in comments. We saw Alex. We saw Ben. We saw Mr. Swade. We saw a bunch of other people. Thank you guys so much. We really do appreciate you guys tuning in. I know, we thank Sean for coming on, filling in kind of for Mr. Handy, who wasn't able to join us this week. Sean, always a pleasure. It's nice to see you, my brother. I hope, you're enjoying your alone time, as it were. I know your fiance is here in Chicago visiting her sister. So you're out there, doing your thing in Virginia. We love it. All great. Tina, thank you, Tina. As always, we're glad that you were able to join us tonight. Thank you so much. Delilah, as always, thank you. No, believe me, We love having you. We love having you here. Thank you. Thank you for joining the Roundtable family this year. We really do love having you on full time. Thanks so much. Delilah, of course, as always, it's always a pleasure to see you, my dear. I'm sure I'll see you at some point in the next few weeks with something, as you know, we're always out and about somewhere, you know, meet down the road there on Clark Street sometimes. So yeah, it'd be great to see everyone. But yes, everyone out there, please, whatever you celebrate, please enjoy your time with whoever's special to you, whoever you spend your time with this holiday season. We hope that you all have a great one. Enjoy your time. I certainly plan to do that as well. So for Sean Spencer, Tina Winter, and Delilah Crespo, I'm Nick Rosario. Everybody have a great week. We'll see you next time. Thanks so much. Have a great week, everybody.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays. Happy holidays.